And welcome to my PlayHouse. And today we're gonna look at something completely different. I have received criticism for, well, only showing you the best of the best. Probably too many Lenovo videos. So I've thought that, well, today we're gonna see the best of the best of Hewlett-Packard servers. And yeah, so that's probably way overdue. The best of the best Hewlett-Packard server. It's right here. Oh, oops. It's a Compaq. Well, Hewlett-Packard bought the best of the best. I am of course kidding, but this is the Model 1 of the DL380 from then Compaq, and now it's owned by Hewlett-Packard. So I got this out of the shell in the data center, and today we're gonna go through it and we're gonna turn it on. I have just tested it, it is working, so yeah, but let's have a look at it. So here it is, and if we look down here, it says that it's the DL380 R01, and this was a P1000, 256 euro, probably just that was for the European market, and then it has a serial number. The P1000, I believe, is that it had a gigahertz CPU, and 256 was the amount of memory that it had, 256 megabytes of memory. 4 slots over here for hard drives, old Scotchy drives, we can take those out. I haven't messed with this server for quite a while, so in here we have, well, Compaq 18.2 gigabyte, 15,000 RPM, ultra wide 3 Scotchy drives. These were really good when they were new. They're still, well, I turned this on, and when we get into it, I'll tell you how long it has been since this machine has been on, and it booted just like it was in operation yesterday. This is based on the Pentium III processor. Woohoo! Power at your fingertips. It has a CD-ROM drive. I do believe this was before DVD was a thing. So yeah, it has a CD-ROM. We, as you can see here, this has been Lone Tower Visual's backup server. So it has an LTO drive in here for backing up data onto tape. I don't remember if this is an LTO 1 or 2. Yeah, doesn't probably, never mind. It has a floppy drive, of course. Every server with respect for have a floppy drive, right? It's been a while since we've seen one of those. Has a power on button right there. Actually, I like this design. That's kind of cool. It has an indicator that shows that there is right now power on the server, but the server is off. It does actually has an ILO adapter. It looks green on the camera, but it's yellow orange in real life. Weird. Hard drive activity, link, and attention light diode. So on the back, there isn't that much. There is an awesome port for an external Scotchy, and then there's a VGA connector. Actually, that VGA connection is not in use. That gave me a lot of trouble because I was trying to get a signal out of that, and it took a bit of time before I realized that, whoa, when you have that ILO adapter in there, that's the VGA connection that is then activated. So yeah, I had forgotten about that. Then we have a single network connection. Well, and I do believe this is 10/100 megabits. Awesome speeds back in the day. We have, of course, for our printer, who doesn't print from their servers. Then we have a couple of serial connections, and we have something for the keyboard and the mouse. All PS2 connections. Awesome. There is room for 2 power supplies. I seem to only have 1 in there. So, and there is room to expand with a couple of other Scotchy connections out the back. 1 big fan there. Let's see what we get when we get into the server. And we have some expansion slots, and I do not believe that we're gonna see PCI Express in there. And it has actually a network card, so I think we should take the cover off and see what we have in here. I had a bunch of these servers. I only kept one, and I kind of moved all the good parts over in this one. So to get in, we need to undo these 2 finger screws that are, oh, there is actually 3. Really? Who tightened that? Really not much point of having finger screws if they're too tight for your fingers. So there's one there, and there's one hidden down here that you always forget. So 3 finger screws, and the lid slides back there and goes up. The instructions on the back is a really old thing, and here we can read how to do a lot of, well, cool things in the server. So, but let's start by looking what's inside of it. So if we start here, we can see we have a network card. It's an Intel card. This looks pretty good. I'm not entirely. They had this funny system to lock this in place, a plastic thingy, and then that came out. I think this is PCI 64 bits. We have an Intel TL380 something. Does it? Oh, it's a Compaq branded Intel network card. Awesome. Underneath that, there is the ILO adapter, and this was when they did shit right. All of this card is for just management of the server, and it didn't do that much. Management has become a lot better over the years, and it had connectors to go to the on. Oh, this goes to the system board down here to turn on and off the server, and it took over the screen over here and keyboard. And well, they actually back then had a power connector going into the ILO adapter so that you could turn the server entirely off and it could still power it on. We lost that along the way. Someone probably didn't think that was necessary. See what's underneath the ILO adapter in here as well. So let's pop that out. Oh, okay, there is a thingy here that needs to go up. There. And then you can pop that out. Oh, there's a kind of piece of something. Paper. Yep. There is this protective bag so that it doesn't short circuit anything on the back. But this is the ILO adapter. Yeah, it's kind of big. Now it's just a couple of chips on the system board. Down here we have some cache. I believe that's cache. And some dust. It wasn't that bad. This is actually the SCSI connector for the tape drive. This one is the SCSI connector for the hard drives. Goes over there. And we have some other interesting chips. We have the graphics chips here. We have the LSI chip for the RAID controller. And some other thingies that I'm not completely sure what is. Yeah, it's packed full down here. Let's get this beast in there again. I remember we got these servers at work without this ILO adapter, and they were bloody expensive to get that in back then. Over here is the floppy drive. Yeah, even back then I don't believe it was used that much. Power on and off, light diodes, real diodes back then, the old kind. We had this thing, which is, well, it's a foam thing. You can kind of release it, and underneath that is the, oh, this has seen better days, is the RAM. A total of 4 slots of RAM. That wouldn't go far today. And we have those 2 Pentium III processors down there, and each of them has a power module there. So if there is only one processor in the server, well, you only have one power module in there as well. I do believe that I upgraded this. I threw out some of these servers because I had like 4 of them and I wasn't really using them for that much. So I upgraded this to have 2 processors instead of just one, and therefore also 2 power modules. And you can kind of see there's a difference. This inductor thingy here, they are different, so One of them came from another server. The server, it doesn't have any fans on the front. This is just empty space. You can put in another tape drive down here if you wanted to. I think this is 3U server. It's more than 2U. I think it was a 3U server. Then it has a fan here to cool the power supplies, and also kind of the discs here. This is the disc unit. Different units was available, I remember that. These were for SCSI drives, and you had for other kind of drives, and I think later on 2.5 inches was also available, but I don't think in this server. But yeah, a fan there and a fan there is all you get. So oh, there is also a fan in the power supply, sorry about that. The system board down here looks very much like a regular PC system board. It is of course a server system board, but it had a form factor that really looked a lot more like a regular PC. Although a little bit different, you wouldn't be able to just pop in anything here. There might be a lot of you that have never seen a Pentium III processor, so I think we should just have a look at that. This is the Pentium III processor. More or less it's just a processor on a board. They have actually talked about bringing this back. If we look in here, the CPU is right there, and we just have this heatsink sitting on top of it, and they screw it down. This was great in the regard that it didn't really break very often. Yeah, this was well protected. For PCs you often had some with fans on it, so they would come with a stock fan. So probably a lot of you have never seen one of those. See a RAM block now that we are at it. I believe this is probably SD RAM, maybe, I forget. It looks like that. And we will see how much RAM there is in this when we turn it on in just a little bit. Oh, it goes in that way. I forgot this thingy. Try again. Okay, power on. Amazing! Guess we have a server 2003 CD in here. And here we see what's in the server. It has 1.6 something gigabytes of RAM, and it has those two CPUs, 1 gigahertz. Oh, no, we're not gonna boot from CD. 133 megahertz front side bus, awesome. And the system has server 2003 installed on it, awesome. We don't have to do anything. And I found that these 3 drives that are installed here, they are installed in a RAID 5, so pretty good, and they are still working. And when we get into the system, we'll see that that's not a given. And when this was new, Novel NetWare was widely used. This was before Microsoft was really trusted, and in many regards Novel NetWare was way better than Microsoft. Their marketing department was not as evil, so they lost. Let's log in. I don't have a Novel NetWare server, so we're just gonna log into the local machine. So, just as I left it, let's go into the computer, and we have the C drive, we have the floppy drive, and we have that CD-ROM. There used to be a network drive on here that is disconnected. It actually had a box with 14 drives attached to it. I still have that out in the data center. I'm very doubtful that there is still data on it, but well, maybe some other day we can check that out. But if we go into the C drive, check out Windows here, and check them by date, we can see, well, today is the 10th of November 2019, and last time I had this up 10 years ago, a little bit more than 10 years ago, 10 years, 4 months ago. So this server has been off for that amount of time and not doing anything whatsoever. It's amazing that you just take that down from the shelf, power it up, and it goes. I find that very attractive, that, well, nothing is doing anything weird. except I think we might be a little bit behind on Windows updates. Yeah, I haven't connected a network connection to it, so there has probably been pending some updates for the server when I turned it off 10 years ago. I kind of often use this Space Monger. I don't know if you know this tool, but it gives you a really good overview of what's on your hard drive. So you can open drive C, there, C drive, open, and it will search through the drive, and it will give us a view of what is taking up space here. And we can see that VMware and an image for NetWare 6.5 LTV ZenWorks. So what is that? Good question, thank you for asking. Let's close that down and minimize that. I have VMware Workstation on this. This is old. How old is this? Oh, it's not that old. It's VMware Workstation 6.0 from 2007. Awesome. Okay. But I have a virtual machine ready to go, and that's this ZenWorks. This was one of Novel Netware's products for deploying new servers. It was way ahead of its time. Many of the features that was in there, Microsoft is just only getting to that. But it was bloody cool. I kind of kept a version of that. We used to use this at work for deploying our PCs for normal office use. This was back when Windows XP was new and good and cool, so it did that. Two Pentium III processors running virtualized stuff, and this was 10 years ago. Should we power that on? We could do that. That wouldn't hurt anything. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we're powering that. It's booting a small DOS version, and then it powers up Novel Netware on top of that. Press OK, and basically it's Linux. Also back then, definitely working its ass off with those two CPUs. Each, of course, only had one core. This was way before hyper-threading, so yeah, none of that crap. So yeah, cool. Something is beeping. So it would be tempting to do a lot of funny stuff with this server, but as this server is pre-USB stick and it doesn't have a USB port on it, it's really difficult to get stuff to it. I could of course connect it to the network, but it has 33 gigabytes of storage data here, and with server 2003 on it and running a virtual machine, well, we still have 17 gigabytes free, so we are kind of 51% free, which is pretty awesome. Nowadays you barely can boot on that. So, well, now it seems that my ZenWorks is up and running, and even though I've called it 6.5, it looks to be a 7.01. That must be a mistake on my side. Yeah, it might be right about this. Cool. Actually, also, if we look down here and check the time, it says it's the 10th of November 2019. I didn't mess with the time at all. It has kept the date for 10 years and 4 months without a hiccup. Well, only hiccup is that right now we are at winter time, so we are. This was an hour ago, so that is pretty cool, I must say. My ZenWorks server is up and running here. I have long forgotten how to use this. Yeah, there is a lot of commands that. Oh, there's a lot of. Okay, we are not gonna mess with that. It's probably not gonna come back. So this virtual machine runs of 640 megabytes of memory, and it has been given 25 gigabytes of hard drive space. It's not using that at all. We could see that it was using a big part of the hard drive, but it was not using that much of it. In the device manager we can see a little bit more. For example, I can see that this is an LTO1 drive that I have in there, the backup drive, the tape thingy. I can see that the PCI memory controller is missing a driver, so does the ATI graphics card, not a big deal. CPUs, we can see that it sees two Pentium III CPUs, and it has a Compaq Smart Array controller. Oh, they still call it that. Now it's just a Hewlett-Packard Smart Array controller. So yeah, not much has changed. I did not expect this to be this easy. I was expecting that I would have to install this because it was dead. And then I took it down from the shell out in my data center, put it on the table, turned it on, and it booted. And I was even able to remember the password for it 10 years later. It was amazing that I remembered that password, otherwise I would have had to install it again. And Server 2003, well, that really did stop becoming fun to install. Great server back then from Compaq DL380 Gen1 with two Pentium III processors inside of it. Hewlett-Packard is running that line, and we're at Gen 10, also with two processors and really powerful ones too. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.